And I remember he was saying some shit to me, and I don't know what to say back.
Right.
But I do know how to throw a punch right into your face. Finally, Tony.
Right.
Finally, officially, we've been trying to do this thing for how many years now?
It's been a few.
It's been a minute.
It's been a few.
It's been long enough for me not to know how many years. That's how fucking long it's been.
A couple of other attempts.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Yeah. Well, you know, the other attempts, the problem was we brought somebody else into it that doesn't have the same mind frame.
Yep.
And doesn't understand that, you know, when you do something like this, you're doing it for a purpose to give back. I know you're the same way.
100.
And, you know, with the lives that we've lived and been around, the people we've been around and the things we picked up and learned, it's kind of like our duty to pass that along to, I mean, you know, we live in the information age right now. So it's really our duty to pass that on to other people, you know, so that they can have a better life and know where to go. There's so much misinformation out there.
Right.
But when you talk from experience, that's a whole different thing.
I always say education without experience is just information.
That's right.
So
see, he's always got these like
anybody can
Yoda
Google
states.
Whatever they want to know now, but do you know it or do you just know of it?
Yeah.
So when you put it into action, that's when it becomes wisdom.
Yeah, so. and also where you're getting that information is really impactful, right? So if somebody wants to know about bodybuilding, they come to you. You've been doing it for most of your life.
Yep.
You know, and you know where you started and where you know finished up. It's at the top of the game. I mean, you know.
Speaking of that, why don't you tell us where your history and where you started?
Yeah, my history. Well, I was born in Iran, in Persia. I say Persia because I'm not Muslim, and Iran stands for the Islamic Republic.
Okay.
So I say Persian, like the Persian Empire, because I'm a king.
Yep.
So kiss my ass.
You're a king.
But yeah, so I was born there, and you know, I was born during the war. So my childhood was like, it wasn't the typical childhood when you have the things that people go up.
So you were born during like the first
Iran war, yeah.
In like '92.
It was no. That was was like around the revolution.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
that war.
Okay. Yeah, the OG war.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, bro, you been smoking today?
No, but I'm putting you in your 20s, your 30s.
Yeah, no. That was a long time ago.
I know.
That was a long time. But yeah, so you know, I grew up differently because as a child, you know, you learn how to survive in a war.
Right.
Other than, you know, hanging out with your friends and doing things like that. And I remember even the schools were weird because the things that they did in school over there, they were trying to like groom you
100.
into, you know, hating America and hating this and that, which is not cool. I mean, and you know, and I got to say this, majority of people in Iran are great people. They're not, they're like people here. Like they just want freedom, be able to say what they feel, and you know, and have a good life without being suppressed.
Right.
The people who run the country are the problem, and those are the ones that you see on TV, you know, burning the flag and death to America, all that bullshit. It's all them. It has nothing to do, because if you go there, you'll see, like you talk to 10 people, all 10 of them will say, we need people to come and help us.
Right.
We need to get this regime out. You know what I mean? That's how it is over there. But, you know, I started there, and then my father was like, all right, this is enough of this shit. I need to, you know, create a better opportunity for my family. So he got us out. I remember, even as a child, I remember the night when we were leaving, we had like 8 suitcases, and it was me, my father, my mom, and my little sister. And I remember my entire family standing there behind the glass, waving at us, and I was like, am I gonna ever see these people again?
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, it was a heavy moment for a kid to go through, because you know you weren't coming back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we left, went to Germany, and had to sit there and wait to process everything so we can come to America. By the way, you motherfuckers that are sneaking in, go do it right. Okay, we did it right, go do it right. You know what I mean?
100.
So we were there 3 years. While I was there, I actually learned how to speak German and Armenian. Because where we lived, the refugee camp, there was a lot of Armenians there. So I just hung out with so many Armenians, I'd pick up the language.
Right.
So it was cool. It was a cool experience. And then went to school in Germany, which was a cool experience. And man, I'll tell you something crazy about Germany. I still remember this. It's funny how when you're young, you remember certain crazy ass things.
Yep.
I mean, I had to like really think about this because I was like, did that really happen? I seen it in a movie. But I remember where we lived, there was a whole Nazi rally. It wasn't even like KKK. It was like Nazis with swastika things and shit like that. And they were marching through the refugee camp. And they were burning crosses and all this shit. I remember seeing that. I was like, and I didn't know what it was.
Right.
You know, I mean, you live in Germany, and I'm like, what is this, a parade? What the fuck's going on right here? They're burning crosses and shit? Yeah. I remember that though.
You gotta be there to hear about
Yeah, but then when I got older, I was like, holy fuck, that was like a Nazi
demonstration.
thing. Yeah, that was the whole thing. The good thing is, right across from where we were was a military base.
Okay.
So they shut that shit down real quick. But yeah, we were there, and then came to America. We went to Greenwood, South Carolina, which is smaller than Greenville, South Carolina.
I was just about to say, is that near Greenville?
Yeah, it's very small. My uncle lived there, and so we went and stayed with him to try to figure out, you know, my father was trying to figure out, should we go to New York, should we go to California, should we go to Atlanta, should we stay here, you know. And so we stayed with my uncle, and the funny thing is, my uncle is a pastor.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
my dad's
you think about it like, yeah, so you think about it, you know, a family from the Middle East, that you're born into Islam, and your uncle's a pastor. Not only is he a pastor, but later on he started the first Persian church in Atlanta.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he's on the hit list. He can never go back over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He can,
so it's like a Christian Persian?
Christian, yeah,
okay.
yeah, Christian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and the thing about the whole religion thing, man, I gotta tell you, I got a lot of friends that are Muslim. I got friends that are Jewish. I got Buddhist friends. I mean, I got friends of every kind of, you know, and I know you do too. And you know, you can't judge someone based on a religion. You judge someone on their character as the person. So we were there for a little while. I went to school. I remember the first day of school in Greenwood, South Carolina. Now, I was still learning English, so I didn't know a lot. But I remember I went there, and, you know, even if you don't speak the language, you know when somebody's talking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like a universal language, right? So I go in there, and I'm in my first class in the first school in America. First day of school. And I'm sitting there, and there's this bigger kid. You could tell he was like the bully of the school. He was bigger than everybody else. Big old country kid, right? And I remember he was saying some shit to me, and I don't know what to say back.
Right.
But I do know how to throw a punch right into your face. So that's exactly how I answered. You know, he was talking shit. I got up. I was like, okay. Bang. Broke his nose, all this stuff. They were like, go to the office. I'm like, all right. So I go to the office. I'm sitting there. He's holding his nose. He's crying now. So the bully of the school is now crying.
Of course.
And I'm sitting there like, I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I don't know what to say. I can't tell him fuck you because I haven't learned it yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm working on that.
I'm working on it. So I'm sitting there. My dad comes in, and then his parents come in, and so my dad comes in and he asked me what happened. I said, you know, he was making fun of me, and if I let him get away with it on day one of school, he's gonna do it forever.
Right.
I can't, you know what I mean? And my father, let me tell you this about my father. My father was a fighter. He was in Iran. He was the head coach for the national team in martial arts, and then he trained like special operations guys. So I grew up around a bunch of killers, not knowing they're a bunch of killers until later on.
Right.
Like, oh, what? They were killing people? Oh, okay. Well, I want to do that shit. Right. You know what I mean? So you know, but he's like the calm. You met him. He's the calmest person. He's like Mr. Miyagi. You know what I mean? And he's the calm and all that stuff. So he comes in there and he's, you know, what happened? I said, well, this is what happened. And he's like, okay, well, you did the right thing. And then the principal was like, we can't have that kind of thing going on. And my dad goes, every time he says something bad to him, he has permission to punch him in the face. And he said that shit in front of the guy's dad. And the guy's dad was like, he can't do that. And my dad was like, you want to go outside? We can talk. We'll talk. And my dad's got a crazy accent too. And he looked, and at the time he had this like fucking goatee, like it didn't even look like a goatee. It looked like just a killer's mane on his fucking. And he was like, "We can go outside and talk." I was like, "Don't go outside and talk with him, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad talk. It's gonna be bad talk." So, that was like my first day of school in America. But then it's funny because right after I did that, everybody was my friend.
Of course.
And on top of that, they were thanking me because they were like, "That guy has been doing that shit forever."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you stopped.
You gave him the antidote.
But the craziest part is that guy I'm still friends with him now.
I bet.
I'm still friends. He's like, "Man, you remember when he punched me in the face?" I'm like, "Yeah, you obviously remember it."
Yep.
He's like, I couldn't. That just changed the trajectory of my life by that one moment. I was like, well, I was like, "Listen, I love you. I love you." Like we hug it out now. He's like, "Man, I love you, man." And he's like, "Yeah, man." So, but he's doing really good. But that's how it should be. I mean, like you should let shit go once they're done.
Right.
People don't do that. People hold on to it and they're like, "Oh, I remember." I know people that fucking still hate somebody from 20 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, let it
Carrying
go, man.
that around,
Yeah. I'm like, you're
it's hard, but yeah, you gotta let it go.
If you're carrying that with you, what happens to you?
100%.
Yeah. You're actually fucking yourself more
It's
than
your
anything.
soul that's carrying it too. It's not even your physical.
No.
So
No, and you're doing something that's gonna make you less of a person because now all your energy is going toward this negative thing that's not affecting the other guy anyway.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's like it makes no sense. So anyway, after that we came to Atlanta. So my dad decided let's go to Atlanta because it was the biggest city close.
Mm-hmm.
Came here, did the whole schooling thing, learned ESL and learned English, went through all the schooling, and then when I was graduating high school, we were in Hilton Head, South Carolina, with the family, and I remember I was on the beach playing volleyball with some family. And some old lady came up to me and gave me a card. This is back in the day where there was no phones, there was no Google, there was no internet. You couldn't look anybody up.
Right.
You know what I mean? She gave me a card. She said, "Yeah, I'm an agent for Boss Models in New York. Give me a call." I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay. I know what kind of boss you're looking for." Right. No, not playing. We ain't doing that. So I didn't call her for like 2-3 weeks, and my mom was like, "Just call the number, find out." The problem is, like, back then, you couldn't look anybody up. So anybody could give you a card and say they're whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know what I mean? So I called her up. She goes, "I've been waiting for you to call me." I said, "Well, I don't know if you're legit." I mean, she was like, I understand what you're saying. So she goes, "Look, we're going to fly you to New York. We're going to do a test shoot, and then we'll go from there." I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about, by the way.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, let's do a test shoot. What the fuck is that?
Right.
Again, you can't look it up. Now, if you tell me something right now, as you're talking to me, I could be like, yeah, I've known that forever.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Back then, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do a test shoot. So I go up there, they do a photo shoot, and then she's like, "All right, I'll call you in like a week, whatever." She calls me up. She goes, "Look, we want to sign you on, but you have to live here.
Okay.
We can't sign."
New York?
Yeah, because you have to be available for us to send you to, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. So now at the time, I had a scholarship to go to Georgia Southern to play football, okay, or I got a $280,000 contract, which is unheard of, to go and model in New York City.
New York.
Yeah, I was like, give me the money.
Right.
I don't care. And it's funny is I'm not even like I'm not crazy about football anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I grew up as a fighter. Team sports was never like my thing. It pissed me off, team sports, actually, because when we lost, I'd be pissed off, and other people just wouldn't care.
Right.
They're like, "Hey, we just like on to the next." I'm like, "Well, on to the next? What the fuck? We practiced for like a week, killed ourselves, and then we lost. What the fuck?" So anyway, so we go up there, and I'm like, "All right, where am I staying?" They're like, so they own these buildings. It's called model apartments. So they own this entire building, and you put all of the models that they signed from around the world into this one building. Yeah. So I don't even need to get into that.
No.
Like, you already know what that. So you're in this entire building of models.
A bunch of young, good-looking people.
Bunch of young, good-looking people, and all they want to, and a lot of them are Europeans, you know how they get down.
Right.
And you're living in this fucking building, and while you're not going on shoots or fittings or whatever, you're just partying
Right.
the whole time.
Right.
That whole part of my life was kind of a mist. It was like
A mist.
it was crazy, man. Like I didn't know like what day it was. I, mean,
Right.
I just knew like, okay, I got to go at 2 o'clock. I got to be here.
Right.
At 4 o'clock, I got to be here. Like whatever it was. But it was cool because, and I tell people all the time, man. I was like, I wish there was cell phones back then.
Or any kind.
I would have so much awesome content.
Yeah.
I could do a movie just on the content I had on myself. You know what I mean? But you didn't have anything, and you couldn't like walk around with a fucking camera. Like when you like all these like these fashion weeks and stuff like that we did. You know, it's all celebrities that go to that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? They go sit there and they hang out and they go to these parties. So we partied with everybody: Lenny Kravitz, Madonna. You name it. Everybody that was famous back then, we partied with them. And I don't have one picture because you can't.
Right.
I mean, you know, you
Right,
can't.
right, of course.
It's not a thing. Now, you know, selfies are a thing and stuff
Right.
like that. What am I going to pull out a fucking Nikon camera? Like,
The
hey.
Polaroid.
Yeah, or Polaroid, yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so, you know, so I couldn't do that. But, you know, the memories are there,
Right.
you know? And so New York took me to Europe, back to Europe.
Okay.
And so they were like, all right, so look, we're going to send you to do our Europe sector, right? So we went to Europe, and then I did the same thing over there. They put me in a model apartment. I was in Paris for a while. I was in Milan for a while. I was in Spain for a while. And then when I was in the UK, so we went to the UK for Fashion Week.
Mm-hmm.
At that Fashion Week, the producers from MTV Europe, MTV2 were there in the audience. And my agent was there. And she goes, you know, they're doing this new music show. It's like the TRL show that Carson Daly was doing here.
Yeah.
And they were like, they're looking for a host. Do you want to audition for it? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to audition for that. Hell yeah, let's do it. She was like, all right. She hands me a pencil. She's like, here's your microphone. Go audition.
I'm about to say, you good with the mic.
Yeah. So like right there backstage. Now, the funny thing is like they had me groomed up for the show. So I'm standing there with this crazy ass head fucking thing hanging off my head, and I'm like this. I can't. I look ridiculous. I look like a peacock. I can't. What the? So she's like, just do it. She's like, don't worry about it. Just fucking do it. I was like, all right. So I go over there and I meet them, and they said, okay, look, here's, you know, Craig David's new song. I want you to present it to us and bring Craig David up on it. So I did my whole thing. They were like, all right. And so she was like back there. She was like this and this, like this. I was like, I don't know if I did good. I don't know if I fucked it up.
Right.
Because the whole scene, because if you go to like a real fashion show, behind the scenes is a zoo.
I was about to say chaos.
People are running around. There's people naked. You know, like people are chasing you, trying to do your hair.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So in the midst of that, I auditioned, right? A week later, my agent calls and says, look, they want you for the part, for the show in the UK. I was like, oh, cool, beautiful, let's do it. So I go out there and we do the show in London, and then it was like summertime was coming up. So do you remember like MTV used to do all these beach parties and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like in Daytona and like Mexico and stuff. It was like that, right? So they said, look, for the summer, you're gonna do it out of a house in Spain, and you got your own driver, you got your own chef, you got this 11-bedroom house. And he was like, you're just going to do the show every single day. I was like, beautiful, let's do it. So I go out there, I do the show. The funny thing with that is, I had a good friend of mine that was doing this, and I was like, look, if you can get here, you can stay at this house. It has 11 bedrooms.
Right.
You don't have to pay for anything. We have food. We have a driver. You literally don't have to do anything. So he calls me up like 2 days later. He's like, yeah, I got the money for the ticket. I was like, oh, good. Your parents gave it to you? He's like, no, I sold my car. He's like, I sold my car for the ticket. He's like, listen, this is a one-time thing. I could buy another car.
Right.
So he came out. He ended up being out there with me for like 4 years.
Really?
He actually met his wife.
Oh, wow.
Now has kids and lives in Spain.
Oh, wow.
How crazy is that shit?
I've been to Spain. I could
you
see
know.
That. I could see that.
Spain is, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, so that, and then that was my entertainment portion of my life. And then I did shows. I did a show called Tough Love that was on VH1, and that was a reality show that was a fucking scripted the whole time. And I've done like movies and stuff with The Rock and stuff like that, you know, his stand-in and all that that kind of stuff. And, you know, I enjoyed all that stuff. You know, I never did it. I didn't really care about being famous. You know, that was never the thing. I wanted to just be successful in doing new things. I was like, oh, modeling, yeah, that's new. Let me try it. Oh, acting, okay, that's new. Let me try it. Oh, this, you know what I mean? So it was just accomplishments that meant it was important to me. You know what I mean? And you know, besides that, you know, I fought my whole life. I mean, my first fight, I was 13 in Thailand, and my father got me that fight because we went to, while he was training, you know, the special operations guys, we went to a fight in Thailand at one of the famous stadiums there. And I told my dad, I was like, dude, I want to do that. That looks amazing. I want to do that. Now, at the time, obviously, there was no internet, so I couldn't look anything up to be like, oh, these guys start fighting at 5 years old? Okay. And so, and that's all they do over there. Like, you're either, in Thailand, you're either a fighter or you work in the fields.
I'm about to say you're regular.
Yeah, and you know, and the thing is, you're not doing it for you. You're doing it literally to feed your family. Yeah, for the family, for the country. Yeah. So it's a different thing, man. It has a lot more meaning to it than somebody that's coming in from the outside that's like now trying to do it. They hold it. It's like baseball to the umpteenth power over there. And so I told my dad, I said, look, I want to get a fight. He said, all right, you're gonna have to train for a year, and then I'll get you a fight. I said, cool, let's do it. So I trained for a year. He said, all right, we got you a fight. He didn't tell me the guy I was fighting was 16. I didn't care about the age. He was 16, I was 13, right? Well, I was 14 at that time. And he said, yeah, he's 16 years old. I said, okay. I didn't ask him how many fights he's had. I didn't, like, none of that stuff. I didn't really care. But I assumed, since this was my first fight, it's his first fight. I assumed.
You know,
never make that assumption.
You know what happened when you assume?
Oh, it was a terrible assumption. So I go in, we have the fight. The first round was very even. The second round, I knocked him out with a standing elbow in the corner. And I was, you know, pumped up and all this stuff. I was already talking about getting another fight, you know? And so we were backstage, and I'm actually sitting with the guy. And he was like, we were talking, we had a translator. And he was a super nice guy. I'm still friends with him. Super nice. He actually has a gym there now. And but the guy was a former two-time world champion in Muay Thai that I knocked out. And I was like, I didn't know any of this stuff. And he told me that he had 186 fights.
What?
That was his 187th fight with me. He's like, I've been doing this since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, so I told my dad, I'm like, you give me a fight with the fucking two-time world champion? Like, wow. He's like, listen, the fire is where you're built. Yep. My dad is like that, you know. He doesn't go, oh, let's start in the shallow.
Well, if he had told you all to do the accolades, you might have.
Well, I would have mind fucked myself. Yeah, I would have gone in like going, oh shit, this motherfucker's gonna probably kill me. You know what I mean? But I didn't go in there like that at all. I was in there. I was like, I'm gonna fuck. And the way my mentality was in that fight, I remember because I told myself backstage, I said, look, you go in there and you keep moving forward. Do not take a step backwards, right? You don't let that guy bully you. You go forward the whole time. You get knocked out, you get knocked out. But you don't go backwards. That was my only thing, to not go backwards.
That's one of my favorite sayings, keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Yeah. And that was literally, that fight was like everything that meant that. Keep moving forward. And it's just exactly what I did. I kept moving forward, which didn't give him any space to do what he does. Right. You know what I mean? Yep. So we were in a clinch a lot, and I was, you know, if you're born in the Middle East, you learn how to wrestle. You know what I mean? So that's like, you know, it's like protocol. You learn how to wrestle, you learn how to lift weights, you know, and you learn how to fire guns. That's what you learn, okay? So in the clinch, I had complete control of him. You know, we get the plum on him, I had complete control of him. And he couldn't get away and create enough distance to, you know, throw his kicks and stuff like that. So that's why I knocked him out with the standing elbow in the corner. You know, because I had him on the ropes, and then boom, and then that was it. And he told me, he was like, that strategy was like exactly what you need to do to get me. Wow. Yeah, because he was getting frustrated. Right. You know, he couldn't get me away from him. So
he probably knew that was your first fight too. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, the promoter told him. Yeah. Promoter told him this is going to be a highlight reel. Yeah. Is what he told him. Yeah. Because the promoter told me after. Yeah. They don't have filters over there, man. No, they just tell you shit. They say, yeah, I told him he's going to kill you. There's no filters there.
I actually prefer that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
The no BS approach.
Than the sneaky shit, yeah. So, you know, I did that, then I did MMA, and then because of my dad's connections, that's how I got into doing special operations stuff with Blackwater. And then, did that, and that was amazing too. I mean, some of the best people, best human beings ever are part of those groups, and I have so much respect for that, because the mentality it takes to just be selfless and say, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna do something good for somebody, and I don't care if I come back.
Right.
If I don't come back, it is what it is. You can't, like, especially the way people are now, it's like complete opposite. Everybody's so selfish. And so being around those guys just made me a better human being.
Yep.
Seeing that, this is the way to be. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and I was young. You know what I mean? So I was still learning a lot, and I was just like a sponge. I'm like, teach me. I want to learn everything. And and then just continued doing what I do, man, and just keep moving. Like you said, just keep moving forward. And now, I'm a business owner, and this podcast, is a thing that I think this podcast is going to be very beneficial on many levels, and information is like the main thing with this. Like getting the proper information to people and giving them direction is really what this podcast focuses on. I know we talk about, it's called the Alpha Hour, but I think that whole thing has got the word alpha basically has got a bad connotation attached to it because of the way the world is now.
Yep.
If you say I'm an alpha male, then that's automatically you don't like women, and you think you want to rule over women, and you want to do this. That's not
actually the opposite.
Complete opposite,
Yeah.
right? Complete opposite of that is, if you're an alpha man, then what you do is you protect.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
I feel protector, provider.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly the opposite.
First in line, what I'm saying? First at the forefront.
Yeah,
and then got their back as well.
Right,
so.
right, exactly. That's what makes you an alpha
leading
man.
from the front, I
right.
should say.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it, like in a wolf pack, right? It's so funny. People think that the alpha male in the wolf pack is in the front. It's not. You know what he does? He puts the oldest people in the front, the oldest pack members, and he's in the back so he can see the entire pack and make sure everybody's safe.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like when you go sit somewhere. Like, I mean, I know I do this. When I go sit somewhere, I have to have my back against the wall and be able to see the entire room, because you never, like,
That's how my wife is. She's just like, I can't sit with
you. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. But like, I mean, especially if you go through the tactical training and stuff like that. I mean, that's one of the things that teach you, like, never sit with your back to the door, because you don't know who's coming in. Now the way the world is, it's crazy. So you have to be able to have peace. Like, I don't have peace if I don't do that.
Right.
Like, I won't even eat. I'll just be like this the whole time. Like, who's that? Who's that?
Listening to your whole story, I see it in your life and your mannerisms and your personality, the way we conduct business. That's really good.
Hey, man, appreciate
really
you, bro.
Good. It's not that I don't know your story, but you gave me some details that I hadn't heard before, hadn't heard in a long time.
Yeah.
And seeing how somebody was brought up, and then how that turned them into the adult that they are. So I commend your parents.
Yeah. No, it's all my parents. Like, people, people give me credit. I'm like, don't give me credit. Give my parents credit. Because if it wasn't for them, I would never take those chances, right? Like, the way my father took a chance. He was like, we're going to leave everything here. My life, my house, my cars.
Yeah, that's deep.
My family. Most importantly, you know how close I am with my family. That was the biggest part, right? But he said, look, I have to do this in order to create opportunity for my kids.
Right.
Because here, there's no opportunity. Right. They're just going to be part of that.
Yeah, just trying to survive.
Right.
So, yeah.
So for him to take a chance and go, and then, I mean, he was, you talking about selfless? He literally didn't do anything for himself at all. Everything was for his family.
I believe it.
How can I not carry that torch from him?
Right. Exactly. That's the way to be. As as a father, as a mentor, as a grandfather now for me. Yeah.
Which is crazy. How you a grandfather, man?
I know it's crazy.
You're still 20.
So you're not done, but
no, I mean,
I'm gonna say a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I was born in Indiana, South Bend, Indiana, right up the road from Notre Dame. I used to be able to see Touchdown Jesus from the top of my street, and kind of blew through grade school, middle school. My dad's a preacher, right? So at 13, he went into the ministry. And so we went from, we wasn't really wilding out, but we was, one way. Then all of a sudden we were another way.
Right.
Had to like conform to the religion and all that type of stuff. Right. And so I brought up in the church, just singing the choir, was on the Bible team, all that. And then I went to high school in Savannah. Well, Alabama first, but then I graduated in Savannah. And so when we moved from Alabama to Georgia, I had more credits than I needed to graduate. So I got out of school early. And got a job doing construction. I got to quit snorting them lawn clippers. Doing construction from like 12 to 4 o'clock. Yeah. And then in my senior year, I got out at 10:30. So from 11 to 4, I worked construction. Yeah. Light construction. The company I was working for was based in Atlanta. So I went up to Atlanta, saw Atlanta, and I've been here since like 83, 84. And so that was kind of crazy. I left home at 17 and, preacher's kid, green as can be, don't really know nothing. I started bodybuilding or lifting probably around 19. And then I got married at 21. And right when I got married, I was just now getting a little muscle on me.
Yeah, getting some attention.
And so I'm in the gym, and these guys approached me about being a dancer. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do that shit. Yeah. Like you can make so I go home, and my wife at the time, she was like, boy, you better go get that money. And so that started me on my
trek. That's never happening now.
I know. That started me on my trek as an entertainer. Yeah. And then I was doing construction, doing that, kind of like the movie Magic Mike. Yeah, almost the same storyline. Yeah. And then I was like 200 pounds, right? Couldn't really put on much more mass. I started at 160. I'm like 200 pounds.
Well, you got to tell them, like, you're 6'2".
Yeah, 6'2".
Yeah, so that's, for a bodybuilder, that's I always tell people tall, man.
I was J.J. Walker, basically. Like, really, really skinny. Right. No real visual signs of muscle. I was a basketball player, so I was kind of cut up, but just really tiny. Yeah. Anyway, I got introduced to real training in 1991. Yeah. A friend of mine, Harold Hogue, rest his soul, he passed away not too long ago, but he really showed me how to train, like how to properly, not just go to the gym and lift, how to really train, how to create intensity, and my body exploded. So I went from like 200 pounds to 260, and then I started winning all the local shows, went and did the nationals, did really well. Then in 95, I tore my pec, and I didn't want to bodybuild anymore. So I literally tore my pec. I think I did one more show, didn't do well at the show, and I literally just quit. So
mentally,
I was washed, because bodybuilding is more mental than physical.
Yeah. It's very mental.
And so I basically didn't go inside the gym for 3 years. I was just kind of, sitting on the couch playing Madden, smoking blunts. Keeping it real. That's what I did.
Keeping it real.
And then one day I'm in the gym. I'm starting to personal train, and my workout partner was also my physical therapist, and he was like, "I found a surgeon that can fix your pec." So I went and saw him. He fixed it, and then I instantly, because it was 4 years between the tear and the actual surgery. Right. And I woke up from anesthesia, and the doctor was like, boy, what are you made of? And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, your tendon was in pristine condition. All I did was unravel it and suture it and put it back.
Still there.
Right, yeah. He said, you got a lot of work to do. He said, I wouldn't even tell another patient this, but you could actually have a career. And, that drive that I already had, it just set me on that path. Yeah, yeah. And 2 years later, I got my pro card.
I remember the night before you went and did that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. That was funny because I went by myself. Yeah. And prejudging, I was like, I called everybody. I'm like, yo, I think I'm gonna win this.
Yeah, y'all need to come. I think I got this, man.
And everybody flew in. That was cool.
Yeah.
But I had a really cool professional career, traveling the world. Magazine covers, all that type of stuff. Yep. But what bodybuilding taught me was, because I turned pro so late at 36, I had to be healthy. Yeah. I had to figure out, how do I stay healthy you know, because I'm already at retirement age, you know, when I started as a pro. So that set me down this path of really learning, you know, how the body works and how to
keep it healthy.
You know,
well, that's a big part of bodybuilding because, you know, you do have to use the drugs.
Yep.
You know, the steroids and stuff. It's part of the sport.
It's like NASCAR. You don't see no Toyotas in NASCAR.
No, so. And that's and you know, for anybody who you know has a problem with that, they need to do some more research and find. I mean, it's like anything else. You can be abusive with it, but you can also do it properly under the right supervision, and then get all the benefits from it too. But you know, I remember out of all the bodybuilders that I knew, even back then when you were doing it, health-wise, I remember you used to fly like to Seattle to get like the ozone done and stuff like that.
I called it countermeasures.
Yeah.
So the tactics that you use to accomplish one goal, you have to have countermeasures to circumvent any negative result.
Right.
And so that's what I really learned how to do, and that's carried over into what we do now. Is, you know, help people figure out how to heal themselves. You know, go to your doctor and all that, but you know, I always tell people, no matter what treatment you get, no matter what therapy, your immune system still has to do the job. Your body still has to heal itself. So most people don't get the education or the information or the knowledge or the wisdom on how to do that. They basically, something happens, they go straight to the doctor, get a pill or whatever, and deal with the, you know, the symptoms. And we learn how to get to the source.
So. I mean, that's a huge part. I mean, you know, obviously we're going to talk about the whole steroid stuff a lot because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and for some reason people are scared to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because it is taboo, I guess. But you know, honestly, it's less taboo than ever before.
Well, you know, I think a lot of times, you know, the media will cast whatever light, demonize it, cast, you know, that light, and then you end up figuring out the opposite, basically. And it's all about, just like everything, moderation, accuracy, you know, proper care from a doctor, physician, blood work, all those type of things. If you're on top of it in that way, you're good.
Reality is every human being, men and women, will go deficient. And
100.
And, you know,
the environment is almost forcing that on you.
Right. It's actually worse than ever, actually, because there's so much, you know, as far as for men, there's so much estrogenic compounds, soaps, lotions, toothbrush, I mean,
plastic cups. Bottles.
There's so much stuff that's making your estrogen go higher than you know, and then actually helping your testosterone. Like it's demasculating men, you know, and a lot of the things that happen now with men has to do with their hormones. Like if their
100%.
If their hormones are you know, optimized, you know what I mean? Like I tell this to people all the time, like, look, you get your labs done, you see where your total and free testosterone is, you look at the deficiency, and then you fix the deficiency. You don't need to go as a 50-year-old, you know, dad and try to do a protocol that like is meant for somebody who's a Mr. Olympia. You know what I mean? But you do need to fix the deficiency. If you want to have quality of life, you want to fix that deficiency, because when you do that, you check off all of these boxes that really matter, like your recovery, like your sleep, like your body fat, being able to burn body fat, being able to put on muscle and keep it. You know, your mood is a big one. You know what I mean? Like, even the neurological effects of it that's never talked about. It has a lot of, you know, there's so much replenishing that it does when you do it correctly for men and women. Because, you know, our company, we do TRT for men and women, but we do it straight down the protocol. Like when we consult somebody, it's like, you need to get your labs done, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then we connect them with the right person that's gonna help them the best, right? And then that person will take it from there and go. But the people we recommend are people that are in the same mind frame that we are, and they're actually doing it themselves. You know.
So one of the main reasons why we have this epidemic is comfort. You know, our fathers and their fathers and their fathers basically did physical jobs, no matter how smart they were. It was whether you worked physical, but at home you was physical, because most people grew their own food, did their own chore. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's been taken away from us. Not taken away from us, but I mean, if you can get somebody else to do it, why not? You know what I'm saying? So that mentality has led us to comfort, which has a counter or negative effect on the body, because the body is meant to toil. It's meant to work and to move. And so now you have to create that yourself.
Yep.
And then you have to hunt, because we're not hunter-gatherers anymore, but you have to hunt and find the healthy foods, because they're not kind of hidden or disguised in the grocery store. So you got to like really take effort to pick out what you should be eating, should not be eating, reading the labels and all that type of stuff.
Well, also,
where back in the day, that stuff didn't exist.
Yeah. Also, back in the day, there weren't any fast food places like there are. I mean,
right.
There's
100%.
fast food places. I mean, you drive down the street, everything is fast food.
Right. That
How
used
bad
to be a
is
treat.
that for you?
That should be a treat.
Right. That's
like
your
once
cheat
a week,
meal, right? Yeah.
Like once a week. Now it's like every meal is drive through.
I don't have time.
Or a restaurant.
Like, dude, you better make time.
Yeah.
You better make time. You're cutting your life short, and your quality of life even shorter.
Well, now we got meal plan companies, so that's helping us go back in the right direction. You see this shift, I think across the world, where people are trying to wake up.
They're
and
trying to be more
healthy.
conscious.
Yeah.
They're starting to realize, like, this is probably not good.
No.
Like, me eating McDonald's 4 days a week. There was a time, though, I tell you, and this is not me trying to get McDonald's to sponsor us, but we will if you want to. We can do it. But there was a time where I was, coming up, and it was literally, I was at zero, right? So I was doing personal training, I was doing security at the club, and then I was doing dancing also, right? So I had those 3 jobs, and which meant I slept very little, obviously, right? So I would do personal training till like 11 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? And then I would either on the weekends either go do a show or go to the club and run the door and make money. I know you did that too.
Yep.
So we did a lot of the same shit.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how we met. That's kind of how we got together.
I know.
So yeah.
So at that time, though, I had to stretch my money, right? So I was like, what can I eat that's going to give me carbs, protein, and it's going to keep me from being hungry.
Right.
And it's the cheapest thing. Yeah. And it's available wherever I'm at, right? So McDonald's.
Right.
That was it. Back then, I don't know what they cost now, but back then, like a burger would cost like 87 cents or something like that. So
I got a crazy McDonald's story. Summer of '84, the Olympics.
Yeah.
McDonald's had this like little on when you buy something, you pull the little sticker off.
Oh, I remember that.
And if we won a gold medal, you get a Big Mac. If you won a silver, you get fries. If you won bronze, you get a drink. And America kicked ass that year. Yeah. And so I literally ate McDonald's 2-3 times a day, every day, the whole summer. That's how we survived.
Yeah, and that's what I did. So I would go and buy like 20 hamburgers, right?
And but it was food back then. I think it was actually real food.
It might have been, man. I don't know.
It switched in the.
I don't remember being sick, but that might be because I drank a bottle of tequila every day. I don't know. That could have been it.
Well, the meat kind of changed. Like
it's a different
in the '90s.
But I would eat like 2 every like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every 3 hours, I would just eat 2, and then I would be like not hungry. But then because I was working out so much, and I was working so much, it kind of burned off. So I wasn't really putting on like bad weight. It was weird. And I tell that to people now, like they're like, well, what should I? I'm like, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you what I did, okay, back in the day. This is what I did when I had to stretch my money. I did this and this. Get the one without cheese because cheese has fat. Don't get that one. Just get a regular burger. Get like 20 of them. It was funny because I was actually we were visiting my daughter at her college. And then one of her friends is a football player. And he was like trying to put on weight because he had an injury, so he lost all his weight, and he's like panicking. He's like, I don't know what to do, and he doesn't have a lot of money. So I told him about that. I said, bro, I saw him again like a couple of weeks after that. He goes, Mr. Paj. He goes, man, that works. That works. I put on like 15 pounds. It's because I mean, he's young. Yeah. All they're doing is lifting and resting and going. You know what I mean? It's not like he's putting. So he was like, I put on like 15 pounds. I feel so good. I was like, all right, don't eat fries. Don't do Coke. Don't do soda.
There you go.
Just do the burgers. And he was like, man, I can't believe that works. I'm like, I know it sounds ridiculous and crazy, but it fucking works.
The simplest things usually do.
Yeah. And it's cost effective. I mean, and when you're in that place where your money is like, you're just trying to like, you're literally counting to the pennies, like 100%. If I spend this, then I'm gonna be short this. And
it's funny, like people who thrive or eat fast food all the time, they think they're actually saving money.
Yeah, they're not.
Like a lot of people don't know how to cook, so I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But if you go to the grocery store and buy one ingredient items like beef, chicken, fish, potatoes, rice. It's not that expensive.
No.
And now you can go places like Costco and get the the value size.
Yeah, for like a family toy.
And really eat for a lot less. Again, most people don't know how to cook.
No.
But I think learning how to cook is a skill that every human
But like you said, meal prep.
should learn anyway.
You know, like Icon meals.
Yep.
Right? So you can buy a bulk box or whatever they call it, a bulk box, and it's like literally like 3 pounds of just beef. It's already cooked.
Yep.
So even if you don't know how to fucking cook, you can buy that and just heat it up.
Yep.
You know
That's what
I mean?
I'm saying. Choices.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, there's definitely options now where you can take control of what you put into your body, and it makes a huge difference, man. And the thing about eating good is you have to also be active.
100%. Like I say, your bodies make the toil, so having some kind of exercise regimen, and I tell people all the time, it doesn't have to be at the gym with a trainer. It could just be, leaving your house.
Hike.
I tell people, to get started the very, very beginning, set your watch, walk 15, 20 minutes, turn around, walk 20 minutes back. Yeah. That's 40 minutes of cardio.
Yeah.
You don't even.
And outside cardio is even better.
That's the best.
You got you get air, you get in the sun, you can be with nature. All that stuff matters, man.
All of it matters.
All that stuff matters.
Being behind a desk.
I remember you hated it too. I remember when you were getting ready for a show, you'd be on that fucking Stairmaster for like.
Once I learned about outside cardio, once I learned about outside cardio, I left the treadmills and I'll do stair mill in the harsh weather or whatever. But walking outside, getting the real vitamin D, breathing the real oxygen. The terrain changing.
It's good for your mental too.
I love it.
It's like meditation. When you're in the gym, it's not, especially the way you look back there. Everybody wanted to come and take a picture and talk to you. And hey, how can I look like you? Like, you got a long way to go, son.
This ain't what you want, player.
Yeah, this is a lot of work. This is a lot. That's the thing that always drove me crazy was when somebody would be, I could do that. I'm like, bro, I promise you.
That's still very rampant. People still say.
I'm like, I just need steroids and that'll look like that. And like, no, you won't. I promise you.
If it came in a bottle, it would be
everybody
everywhere.
Would look like that.
Vending machine, it would be literally everywhere. So.
It's so funny. I told one of my clients the other day, I said, next time you're in the grocery store, just stop and look around. See if you can find one guy that you can say you want to look like.
Oh, please.
So he calls me up from the grocery store. He's like, hey, man, I'm in the grocery store right now. I don't see anybody. He's like, there's a couple girls that I might want to look like, though. He's like, they're in better shape than the fucking dudes. I'm like, you know why? Because they give a shit about it.
Women are training these days.
They're training hard, man. They're training hard, and they're eating good. They're doing everything like we should be doing, right? And
lifting heavy weights, too. Dude, they're not playing.
My wife, she's jacked, okay? Her profession is she's got a salon, so she does like hair and stuff like that. And I've seen some of when they do all this stuff. I'm like, how are you like shredded like that, just doing hair? Then I went there and one day I was just waiting for her to finish. I was like, oh, that's how.
So you don't stop moving.
Like, oh, yeah. 10,000 calories per client, I think. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's just man. I'm like, but the good thing about her is. She likes to go and work out too, so she'll do that and be like, "Let's go to the gym." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go." Like it's super important to have somebody in your life that's like that, because a lot of times what happens is a couple will be on different pages, right? One wants to go to the gym and get better. The other one's like, let's just do this. Let's go drink.
Do a couple sets for me.
Yeah, right. Like FaceTime me from there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like. It's really important the people in your circle to be supportive and fuel for you. Right. You know what I mean? Yep. And that, honestly, that's on every aspect. But I believe that when you have the discipline to be in shape and get your ass up when you don't want to go to the gym, and you get to the gym anyway, whether it's by yourself, whether it's with somebody else, whether it's at midnight, whatever. I got a gym membership at Anytime Fitness because it's 24 hours.
Right. Getting there is really the hardest part. Once you get up and go and get there and start moving around, then next thing you know, hours pass and you're done.
Yeah, and I've done that 11. I know you have too, man. 11 o'clock midnight when you go, and I'm like, I remember the last time I went, it was like midnight, and I was sitting at home and I couldn't fall asleep, and I was like, and I couldn't fall asleep because I didn't get my workout in that day, and I was like. And I felt like I neglected myself. So I was like, fuck this, man. I got up, got my shit, drove down there. Nobody's out.
Right.
Out here in Alpharetta, everything shuts down at 9 o'clock. So I drive down there, park. There's nobody at the gym, obviously. I go in there. I worked out for like an hour straight, just nonstop. Killed myself. Mm-hmm. I never felt better.
Slept like a baby.
Yeah, I never felt better. I got home, took a shower, got in bed, out. Woke up the next day. I felt like $1 million. You know what I mean? Like that is by far a better feeling than sitting around and just waiting for shit to happen. Like you and then when you have that discipline to do that. To say that I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the gym no matter what time it is. I don't care how much other shit I have going on during the day. Mm-hmm. At some point, I'm going to go to the gym. Right. You know what I mean?
When I retired, I was done competing.
Yeah.
And so I stopped training, right? And then, I was already injured so I had to stop training for that part. But so let's just say the injury healed and I still mentally was checked out.
I might still be a little injured.
And you go through these stages, and I never called it depression, but I'm just for sake of
that
words.
State.
It's just you're not yourself.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I was addicted to those endorphins.
Oh yeah.
When you train,
that's a real thing.
Your body releases all those endorphins, and when you don't train, you don't get those same.
Mm-hmm.
Some people try to use stimulants or nootropics, and it's similar, but it's not the same. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just felt myself going through that, and when I started back lifting, then that feeling of being me again came back, and so I won't ever stop training.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Arnold's a great example, right? He's lived that since he was a teenager.
Right.
And now, what is he, like 75, something like
78.
that? 78?
He just turned 78,
there you go.
2 days ago.
There you go. He's 78, but you see, he still works out. He's got a full gym in his house. He works out every day. Yeah. Same with Stallone. Stallone's doing action movies still.
He's filming a new series.
Stallone is?
Yeah. In Winder.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might not supposed to say that, but.
Yeah, well. They can be like, it's all good.
Slide.
They'll find out. Find out, man. But yeah, you see those guys. Those are the guys in the 80s. Those were the action stars of the 80s, right? They were all jacked. Mm-hmm. Do you remember like when Predator came out?
And they're damn near 80 years old.
Yeah,
still going.
They're fucking 80 years old and they're still moving because they never stopped moving, right? And they also took a bunch of steroids.
That helped
forever. No, I mean, definitely. I mean, Stallone. I remember. He was coming back from Australia, and he had a whole gym. You know what I'm talking about? He had a whole gym bag.
I've been to Australia, so I know exactly what he went through.
Yeah. So he was bringing, but he was the part I don't understand. There's a couple of things I don't understand. One is why the fuck is Stallone flying regular flight, a commercial flight?
Right.
He should have his own plane. Right.
Australia's pretty far though, but yeah. Go ahead.
Because we're talking about.
I know.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
So that's one. That's the first thing. And the second thing, it's almost like he wanted to get caught to be on the tabloids or something like that. It might be that his publicist might be like, "Yo, take a regular flight. Yeah. Take this bag of steroids with you on your carry-on, and let's see what happens." You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you what's going to happen, especially in Australia where everything is fucking.
More customs over there. Honestly, they're a lot chiller than they used to be.
Yeah.
You take an orange or banana or a jar of peanut butter in your luggage, bro.
They're like,
that was no joke.
What is this? What are you trying
$400.
Yeah. So yeah, he was trying to carry like $60,000 worth of growth hormone in his carry-on.
I got that good shit.
Yeah. I'm like, you can't say like he's like, well, I'm not trying to distribute it. It's for me. They're like, you can't have.
This is 2 years worth.
Like, like, where's your prescription? Like, where'd you get this from? Wow. You know what I mean? But they've been doing that since the 80s. They've been, Arnold apparently has been. I don't know for sure, but from what they say is he was doing it as a teenager. That's why he looks so crazy. But I mean, he has great genetics too. People always cut that part out. That these guys have great genetics, but that did definitely help.
Well, the genetics allow your body to uptake whatever it is. That's why you see you got 1,000 people. Let's just say 1,000 people doing the same shit. You're gonna have your people that's elite, and then you got the people like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then everything in between.
The middle, right.
Is how your body accepts it.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what, and going back to it, I think being physically fit, I think it's a great place for everybody to kind of hone in their entire life, because the discipline that it takes to be in shape, it trains your mind more than anything else, right? So if your mind is strong, then your mind is going to be strong in your business, in your family, in your relationships, everything else that you want to do. Right. So you always see like someone who's really well driven is usually in shape.
Obesity is not, it's kind of a new thing. I mean, there's been fat people throughout history, but usually it's an emperor or somebody who doesn't do anything. Everybody else has to physically move and work to actually survive. Like I say, that's been not taken away, but totally suppressed. You have a choice now. So you could be a multimillionaire without lifting a finger now, you know. And if you have the discipline to go get your training on, then you'll be fine. But if not, then your body is going to decay. I mean, it's decaying anyway. And so the countermeasures or the fountain of youth is actually moving, eating whole foods, staying hydrated. Stuff like that, getting real sunshine. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff that the human body, forget who you are, forget what race, creed, color, and the human body requires that for optimal
that's genetically.
existence.
You know what? I'll tell you something, man. You were talking about fat people. Let's talk about fat people for a second.
Go ahead.
Because,
by the way, I'm a fat person. Right?
Listen, man, if you're fat and you're offended by me saying you're fat, then fuck you. I don't really care. You know, don't be fat, and you won't be called fat.
Well, it's everybody's responsibility to take care of this one temple that you.
There's not one, Tony, I'm telling you right now, there's not one human being that's overweight and fat that would rather not be. There's not one. You know, they train their mind because they just don't want to do the work. So they just say, no, I'm beautiful. And I'll tell you this, from when I modeled back in the day, right? They used to weigh these women.
Oh, I bet.
They used to weigh and measure them on a daily basis. It was in the contract that it couldn't go past a certain thing, whatever. Because models back there were supposed to be, you know, slender and look good and all that stuff. Now they're promoting that it's okay for a woman or a man to be overweight and fat and be a model, and they look beautiful, and this is beautiful. It's like, it's not beautiful because that person's unhealthy. You know, it has nothing to do with the visual part of it. What's upsetting is that they're telling these people that are overweight that they are beautiful for being overweight, when the reality is their life is shortened because they're so out of shape and unhealthy. You know what I mean? It's like that. This is the narrative now. Instead of telling people like, look, if you're overweight, these are the things you need to do to get your health right and not be overweight. Instead of doing that, they're saying, no, it's beautiful to be overweight.
Well, you know, if you look around, right, there's no swole old people. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no
back in the day.
Really, I know back in the day, but back in the day they were eating whole food. There was none of this artificial nothing. It used to be, we used to have a Big Mama back in the day that was like maybe 250. But it was just her. It wasn't everybody else was skinny. You know what I'm saying? So it's our environment. It's set up against us, comfort. So you have to seek these things and then implement these things in order for it to take place. But mindset, you know, is everything. So like you said, a lot of people, they don't care or they don't know or whatever. But, you know, we're in the age of information. So the information is out there.
I mean, you're walking around with a computer in your pocket. And you got information at your disposal anytime you want on anything you want. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And it's sad, honestly, because, you know, you see a lot of kids that are overweight and they don't know any better. It's a kid. You know what I mean? And their parents are allowing this to happen. You know, because the kid wants McDonald's. And we're like, don't give your kid McDonald's.
They only eat what you buy them. You know,
they don't fucking know.
You know, it's funny because I was at my son's house the other day, and he has 3 toddlers. Well, he has an infant and 2 toddlers. And he got them so trained. I mean, they eat salmon, rice, broccoli, meat. You know what I'm saying? Like he's feeding them all whole foods. It's pretty amazing. I don't see them with no candy, no junk. So in other words,
but you look at him though, right? He's super. His wife is too, right? So you got 2 people. You got the mom and dad that are very healthy. They're already, their mindset is health and taking care, having quality, like the best quality of everything, right? So the kids are going to obviously see that and be like, oh, this is the way to be, you know, and then it's going to benefit them because they're just going to come out to be 10 times the average person.
But to ask a 2-year-old or 4-year-old what they want and they respond, you know, with healthy foods means
that's crazy.
Well, it just means they've been taught that way, but they also enjoy it.
Yeah,
I mean, they're literally requesting.
They're happy about it.
You know, I don't want chicken, I want salmon. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hilarious because they're not eating, you know,
like
chicken. They're not eating chicken nuggets and fries and all that. Right. So,
well, I bet their energy levels that better. Their sleep is better. I mean, you know, because you give give a little kid some garbage. What happens?
They turn it. They act garbage.
They're just good. Yeah, they're just like they feel terrible. You're just like, oh man, what did I just do? You know what I mean? Like, you know. Yeah. So
I had the little 2-year-old. We was building their garden, so we built like a little 8x16. You know, had to dig the grass up and till it all up. Had the little 2-year-old out there with the hoe and the shovel. I was just like, wow, boy, you all right with me?
See that shit, man?
Not at all. Not at all.
No, and that's the thing. I think it's important that people wake up and they start to make changes for themselves, because if you don't take control, then you're gonna look back and say, "What happened?" You know, like.
You know, I've been personal training a little bit lately because I was getting stagnant. You know, I got all this information and knowledge and all that. Yeah. But I was getting stagnant. So I said, you know what? Let me get me a couple of clients to train so I can actually sharpen my skills a little bit. And so, you know, I got a few online. But it's just really cool to see people applying the things that you know, that I know, not that I Googled or read about, things that I know, and getting similar or even better results than I did, because when I learned how to do it, it was still trial and error. Yeah. And so now, you know, I can almost accurately predict, you know, how much weight they're going to lose, how many levels of ketones, all that type of stuff. Yeah. Because I've been there and I've done that before. And so I said that to say this: one of the most important things that you need in your life is accountability. So, you know, if you're struggling with your weight or struggling with anything, find someone who cares about you, or that you're paying, either one, because if you're paying them, they probably care about you a little bit, and to hold you accountable, to help you stick to whatever the protocol is and plan is, and then trust the plan and the process, get up and execute, and the results are pretty much guaranteed. Like, the best program in the world is the one that you'll actually do. So whatever it is that you actually physically do, that's what's going to give you results. Now, you can change your results according to your effort, according to the information, and then end up getting to your goal. It's not I want to lose 40 pounds, so I'm going to stop eating. You know, I'm stop eating sugar or whatever. I mean, you do it for a little while, and it's almost like in the river on the bank. You 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So having someone to hold you accountable, someone that's actually been there and done that. You know, there's a lot of people out there with a lot of degrees, but they haven't really applied the information. So find someone who has either both, or at least somebody who's lived it, and so they can tell you what not to do more so than actually what to do, and that'll help you. You
know what doesn't make any sense to me when people go and get a personal trainer? They get a personal trainer that's not in shape. Yeah. They go and hire a fat personal trainer to get them in shape. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, let me talk to you for a second here. So you're not in shape, and you want to hire somebody, give them money.
I got a certification.
Here's this piece of paper. You're going to hire this guy that can't get himself in shape to get you in shape. How is that even, like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's like getting somebody to teach you how to swim that's never swam.
Right. Or that's afraid of water. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no. You need like this. Why aren't you in the pool? I'll drown. I don't know how to swim. What the... And that's what I'm saying. Like, at the very least, do your due diligence. If you find if you want to get better at your nutrition, you get a great nutritionist that's eating healthy stuff, not just has a piece of paper that says I'm a nutritionist. You want a trainer, you get somebody like Toney, right? I mean, you do that right now, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so you get somebody that's lived it, that understands every aspect of it, so that they can help you. Yep. You know what I mean? That's the thing. People just, it's almost like they want to get the fat trainer because then they won't feel bad about themselves. Like, this guy's a trainer, so, you know, we're the same size.
I got a client, he's in Texas. We started about 40 days ago. He was 270 at 5'7". Oh. Right?
Jeez.
In the first 30 days, he lost 30 pounds on the scale, and 27 pounds of it was fat.
Oh.
So he put on about 9 pounds of lean body mass, lost 27 pounds of fat. So now he's like 240.
Yeah, and what is he doing? Just change his diet?
I mean,
workout?
I radically changed his diet. I remember he sent me his blood work.
Yeah.
His resting glucose was 380.
Oh.
I mean, imagine waking up with 380. I was like, bro, what was you eating? He's like, I was eating everything.
Like a
so he sends me his blood. I have him test his ketones and his blood glucose every day.
Yeah.
This morning his ketones was 1.1 and his glucose was like 81.
Yeah.
And that's like less than, a little bit more than a month ago, less than 2 months ago.
Right, that's a big
really
change.
Closer to a month.
Well, he must feel a million times better.
He feels a million times better. His coworkers are tripping. And because I always ask him almost every day is, how do you feel?
Right.
He's like, I've never felt so alive. And I will admit, I've never really had anybody go to the level of execution that he has. Yeah. But he's a surgeon tech, so he's used to being precise.
Right.
And bro,
he wants it bad.
My wife's always, you singing Carlos carols again? I got to give him love because it's really insane to watch someone who is, type 2 diabetic, extremely unhealthy. I mean, he still has a long way to go.
He's type 2 diabetic? Okay.
Yeah, still has a long way to go. Well, he used to be.
Oh, okay.
So, like I say, now he's waking up. His blood sugar was literally 81 this morning. So,
that's great. That's great.
That's pretty nice.
That's
but
great.
like I say, it's find someone who knows, not heard, not read,
not holds a piece of paper
from actually physically doing it.
Right.
I mean, even if you're a person who trained a lot of people and you didn't do it yourself, there's a degree or a level, some parts that you just don't know because you've never done it.
You can't relate. How can you relate?
So find someone that knows.
Yeah.
That's going to be attentive, not just there just taking your money and saying, oh, here's the program, see you later. Yeah. Someone that's going to be there on the journey with you.
Yep.
So, don't take that left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that'll accelerate your progress. And, we're all results-driven people. Mm. So as you get results, you get more committed, more dedicated.
Motivated too, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what keeps you in the game. Yeah. It's a journey. It's going to take your whole life.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you stop,
it's a lifestyle. It's not. That's what people think. Like, is this going to be? Is this like is this what we're going to do a round of this or whatever? Like, no. This is forever.
Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah. Because if you don't, it's like when people start TRT, and because they're deficient and they're older, they're in their 40s, they're not producing anymore naturally. No. So if you stop taking it, you're just going to go back to that. And it's going to be even worse now because now you've put testosterone in your body.
The crazy thing about that is the people who are not producing it naturally, there's two things. You can either go start being physical or you can get the meds or both.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, but even if you get the meds and you're not physical, it's not gonna. Your body's not gonna uptake it the same. You'll get more side effects.
You're gonna be exactly. You're gonna get the side effects. It's not gonna be good. That's why I tell everybody that does. I'm like, look, there's a regimen attached to this. You have to do this, but you also have to do this. You also have to do this. If you really want to get to what you're telling me, that's a different thing.
It's to the point where you can literally look at someone and ask them a few questions and know how they live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. By the way that they look on the out, it's crazy how that is. And you could look at someone. That's why people admire fit people.
Yeah.
It's because they know they busted their ass.
You don't because you don't get.
But there's other people out there to be like, oh, that's just steroids or whatever. I'm just like, bro.
Steroids. If I took steroids, I look like that.
There's millions and millions and millions of people doing hormones.
Yeah.
And then there's this small group that actually look amazing. Then everybody else is somewhere in the middle. Yeah. So it's so much more to it.
And that's what that's one of the things that we're going to focus on here because it's really important for us to give people the correct information.
100%.
And based on your experiences, my experiences, and
all our colleagues, all the resources
that's what I'm saying.
we have
so much resources that, and we'll bring them on so they can do, they can help out on their side too. But that is the mission of the Alpha Hour. Mm-hmm. The whole point of the word alpha that's attached to this podcast is to make these people, make everybody, women and men, right?
And children.
And children. The best that they can ever be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That mindset is what we're talking about. Yep. The alpha mindset of, being a leader, being protective, and all that good stuff. All of that is what this show is about. Yep. And this is going to be what we're going to bring to people, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm glad we're going to finally do this thing, and it's not going to be censored at all. So if you're one of those sensitive type people, you probably should not watch the show.
But those will be the main ones watching it, saying, I don't like that. Well,
no, you can watch it. You can watch it. But I'm saying if you're going to be extra sensitive, it's going to hurt your feelings, you probably shouldn't. Right. Well, but we're going to still do this.
You have been warned.
Yeah, you've been warned, exactly. Because, the reality is anything we say, even if I say, somebody fat and, fuck you and all that, I'm not saying that in a
Don't take it personal.
Right. Yeah. It's not personal. What I'm saying is that it bothers me that much for somebody to be overweight and not realize that they can have much better life if they fix that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if they had the right direction on how to fix it,
So you have people who are morbidly obese, and it took them a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Well, the beautiful thing about being human and about making mistakes is you just turn around.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to turn around and then instantly be in shape? No. But you mentally say, okay, that's enough. And that's what my boy Carlos, that's exactly what happened to him. He was just so frustrated and tired. But because I was able to give him information that if you apply this information, it's going to actually give you the result that you're seeking. Now he's like on top of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now he's so hyped and so motivated every single day. I've never, other than myself getting ready for a show, I've never seen someone that locked in before. Yeah. And it's just, and my wife always saying, you sing Carlos carols again, but I know it's possible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I see it, I do it every day.
I believe in people, man. I believe that they can, there's never too late to change anything. Yeah. I believe that, it's just a matter of making that decision and saying that, okay, I've had enough of this, I'm ready to make a change, and I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And then once you do that, there's steps that you need to take, which we'll go over. But there's steps you take, and there's resources that make a difference. But everybody can do it. There's not one person that I believe that.
As long as you're breathing, you can do it.
Yeah, you can breathe. You can breathe. You can do it. I mean, we've had people in wheelchairs do it. You know what I mean? But they've made that choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll continue more of this. We want to wrap this one up.
But 100.
But we're gonna focus on this. I'm so happy that we finally got this thing rolling.
It feels good.
And
feels good.
Shout out to my boy Chase and his whole crew for being part of it. He gets it, man. It's hard to find people these days that understand where your mentality is when you say we're not gonna be censored, and really your mission is to help people.
Somebody got to say it.
Somebody got to say it, man. It's gonna be us.
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
man.
All right, baby.
Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
I'll see you soon.
All right.